At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Rest in heaven, Dr. King, one of our strongest advocates for tangibles, for Black American freedmen, descendants of the slaves, foundational Black Americans. Of course, it's a special day, and we know he probably wouldn't want just some single holiday. So I had to give my proper respect to Dr. King and put it in the correct light. But what I want to do tonight is, we'll pull the music back in a bit. I want to go straight into some technical things. That's what I would like to do. I would like to go straight into some technical things, and after I do that, we'll go through a couple little articles and some things I found, make some quick reviews, and then we'll go on to the next subject. Now, there was something in, I'll go ahead and get the music going back on. There's something that I wanted to touch on or something that I did touch on in my second volume. And something caught my eye about VST engines. Now, I want to play this real quick. There's something called Spitfire Audio. And this channel, this is a video that was played 5 years ago, or uploaded 5 years ago. I think when VSTs, and for some time now, VSTs, they've always been used, but they're getting better and better and better. And there's this company that I was just looking at called Spitfire Audio that makes these VSTs and these very professional strings. So there might be some movies and video games and things of that nature out there where you're thinking, well, that was a big giant orchestra. And it wasn't the case. It might have been somebody with some cold composing skills, and they were able to, just go ahead and create a composition by way of a computer. It could have just been by way of a computer. It could have been something very simple. You guys got to excuse me. I'm a little congested for some reason. Throughout the half of the day, I became really congested. I don't know how that happened. It really puts a damper on how I feel about doing my broadcast, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I can edit out whatever needs to be. But in my second volume, I talked about Black folks getting involved, not just in support, not just in developing programs, but considering, how do you develop a VST? How do you create a VST or a drum kit? Every sound. I remember David Banner was talking about that when he had scored Gatorade. And a lot of black folks were saying, hey, look, you know, it's there's more than just the typical tap dance. It's more than just getting on a stage. It's more than just mixing and mastering. There's people that actually develop sounds. Every sound that you hear, from a remote control to doorbells, all of that. There was actually even voicemails. I believe one of the Siri voices on the Apple phone is a black woman. It sounds like a sister. I'm not sure, but I think it is a black woman. So I want to play some of this audio here, and I want to discuss a little bit about VSTs and, you know, in that regard.
Hi guys, Oliver from Spitfire here with a new in action for our chamber strings professional. In this one, I'm going to show you how I've composed the music for the trailer using some of those alternative
Fair
mic
use,
positions.
YouTube. Fair use.
I'm going to just play it for you, and then we're going to go through the composition and the sounds.
Now this guy is going to start playing some sounds using the Spitfire strings. It sounds like a horror movie at first. All right, now
Right on the piano as well, and just kind of trying to come up with some simple chord progression that kind of flows nice. And back to C. So like the most simple kind of chord progression, but it just gives, you know, it keeps you kind of connected to the root, and it gives you still a feeling of like rising hope or...
Now he's on the keyboard.
So here on the explosion of the fireworks, I have my melody line. So C.
So now I'm seeing how a lot of films are composed. Think about everything we hear, all the sound effects on social media, Instagram and everything. Somebody had to make these sounds, or somebody had to either use a VST, or maybe they created a VST. So my question that I pose to you guys, some of you coders and some of you music lovers out there, how do you create a VST? How do you do that? Is that something that can be done? I know it can be done because people do it all the time. But is that something that black IT professionals could get into? Is that something that we could get into? And if not, why? Now, going along, you know, some of the stories that I was talking about, I did an interview, and just like I told y'all, some of the stuff I might be interested in, some of the stuff I'm kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to use it as a case study and post it so you guys can kind of see how I go about asking the questions. For some reason, the audio of the interviewer didn't come through, but this was a company, it's a software as a service company, right? And, you know, as you could see posted on the channel, it went well. She acted like she liked what I was saying and this, that, and the third or whatever. But then, you know, days later, I didn't hear anything. And what I found was very, very interesting. I kind of figured out what was going to happen. I said, they're probably not going to go along. But they gave me what Brother Umar would say. They gave me the overqualified Negro response. You're too technical. We need somebody with more forward facing. We're looking for more of a forward facing. And I'm kind of thinking, well, there's nothing more forward facing than me. There's nothing more forward facing than me training people, especially being a technical trainer. You see, so with me being a technical trainer and getting all these black folks, all these positions, and training them how to get certifications and how to get a job and work on their resume and work in labs and all that, it goes to show a lot. I'm going to make a new post in a minute. I'm going to make a new post for you guys in a minute, but I made a post with the company, and it was software support representative. But what they said was, we're not going to proceed. We're looking for a more customer facing and a less technical candidate at this time. Now, I'm thinking to myself, well, damn it, you've already seen my resume. You liked it. So you're looking for less technical. Now you could clearly see, okay, he's done Citrix, he's worked with Salesforce, he's touched all of these different things. So you liked it until you got me on the phone. That's what it kind of sounded like. There was really nothing wrong with the interview. If I'm too technical, that means that you're now saying I'm qualified, but then you'd have to admit, okay, I didn't go overboard on the interview. I had the skill set to be able to do it, but you're saying it's too technical. I'm telling you, that's that overqualified stuff. So y'all got to watch out for some of that sometimes. They play little games like that. So, it's to be expected, especially here in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, with the CRM support that they had, I already had some experience with a CRM, Salesforce. Remember, she tried to say, well, we're going to move over towards Salesforce. And I cracked a little joke like, oh, wow, that's going to, because I've seen those migrations before. When you're moving over from one ticketing system to another, that's a common knowledge. I have years of front-facing customer service. And I wanted to kind of go through that with y'all a little bit. When I was telling her, I said, well, I started off doing Windows 7 contracts. So that's direct customer support, front-facing experience. I worked with a manufacturing firm, which was my first Windows 7 migration experience. Then I worked with Blue Cross. I worked with Travelers. I worked with Medica. I worked with AIG. So I worked with all these different business units. That was all front facing. So then you can't use he doesn't have enough experience. You already said I have the experience. Software as a service. I've worked at several different places. So that was probably just a legal recourse to just say, well, I'm not giving this nigga the job. I'm just not gonna give it to him. So that's probably what it was. But the legal response was, you're too technical and we need a front-facing customer experience. We want someone with more years of it. So I want to go and break down my resume a little bit. I'm just showing y'all how I respond in a codified manner, or how I look at it in a codified manner. So I didn't really talk about when I worked at this place called TCS. I'll talk about it now because I'm not going to work there again. But as an EUC analyst, I was dealing with a lot of front customer, service. When I worked at this Citrix company, I won't say it, I did a lot of front-facing customer service, especially as software as a service. Working as kind of like a Salesforce admin when I worked at a charter school, that was front-facing customer service. But sometimes what they will do is, once they see all of these different things, they will just assume, well, he's just too technical, maybe he won't stay. Had to sneeze real quick, so y'all don't, I'm congested. So maybe they figure, well, he's just not going to stay, whatever the case may be. But they're not going to say that. So, I had everything that was needed or whatnot. So I did respond. I didn't think she was going to hit me back, to keep it 100. I didn't think she was going to hit me back. But my response to her was, thank you for your time. Now, if you guys happen to need a referral, let me know, because I got more entry level contacts if needed. Because now that opens the conversation. If you're saying I'm too technical, well, I got some other people that did a lot of front facing customers. I got a brother that I'm working with right now. He's been a manager. I mean, that's pretty front facing. You're dealing with a lot of people, but he doesn't have the tech experience just yet in corporate enterprise. But I'm trying to hook him up with a position. You know, so I've been sending his resume out and things of that nature. Excuse me. I've been sending that brother out, and I said, well, if he happens to respond, which he didn't, you need somebody that's less technical. Okay, well, I got a few people that's less technical. I got a lot of colleagues that's less technical than me. A lot of the guys that I came in the game with is less technical than me. So I said, okay, I could send referrals. People, I know people that's always looking for different contracts and work and stuff like that, and they trying to get they grind on. So, you know, it's just worth a thought. But, you know, the way I started, and I talked about that in my first book, I started off doing contracting mainly. I looked for a couple permanent jobs here and there, but for me, I felt like I was blessed to get into the game anyway. So for me, you know, I was cool doing IT contracts and just riding that out for a while. And I got to learn a lot of different things. I got to meet a lot of different people. And I forgot something the other day. You know, I was looking at some confirmations and some old things going on in my early life. And I was checking some things out. And I said, well, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to look and see, like, you know, when did I start hooking people's resume up? And I was seeing, like, man, I've been hooking people up and getting their resumes together and sending them positions since what, 2013? You know? So my paperwork is clear. My paperwork is pretty legit. I've been dealing with this for a minute. Now there's this company real quick I want y'all to check out called Aston Tech. My homie sent it to me, but I've known about them for a while. They look like they revised their website a little bit. This might be an opportunity for some brothers and sisters here that want to get into network engineering. Now, I have heard some things about folks that have applied. I don't want to deter anybody, but I'm gonna do a little analysis of this real quick, and then I'll kind of get into my analysis and my thoughts. Fair use, YouTube, fair use.
Are you still trying to advance your career? Why not boost your career the Aston way? Be a part of the booming IT industry. Since 2001, Aston has focused on hands-on training in IT engineering, app development, voice engineering, and project management. You won't just learn out of a book, you'll actually be doing it.
Aston shaped me into the professional I am today.
Take advantage of the opportunity, put the work in, it'll pay off.
I felt like I could work at my own speed. I wasn't being rushed along in a program that was too fast.
Whether you're a junior level, mid-level, or senior level, you can benefit from a career at Aston Tech.
Come be a part of our culture. We've done business with all of these Fortune 500 companies.
So they've done business with like Best Buy, United Airlines, Sony, ESPN, Kaiser, Disney. So basically what they do is they train you up and they send you out. They train you up and they send you out as like a consultant to work with a lot of these companies.
100 companies. And with projects all over the U.S., you never know where your office
New
will
York,
be next.
Frisco, Chicago.
To find out more, contact us today. Aston Technologies.
All right. So I applied at this place a couple different times. They never got back at me. with the experience I had, I think I should have at least got a call. But, you know, they've been around since 2001. It looks like they got a brother as the director of network engineering. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to say nothing about that. But they're based out of St. Louis Park. So they got business development managers. Now here's the one that I wanted y'all to take a look at. This is a network engineer entry level, $2,000 project start bonus. So what they do is they'll sit you down wherever they're at. This congestion is killing me. They'll sit you down wherever you're at. They'll train you up to be basically a network engineer. So let me read this off, and the requirements and the training and all of that kind of stuff. Sounds like they do everything in-house. So on-site paid training with a curriculum designed to test and sharpen their abilities. Upon completion of paid training, you will have a better understanding in areas like virtual and physical network infrastructure, network security, application delivery, cloud network services on a large scale for long or short-term assignments. Now, just right off bat, what I'm getting out of this is you probably gonna have to sign some kind of contract where you come in, they train you, they probably pay for your certs, they give you a little money, but you might have to stick around over a certain amount of time. It's probably going to be lab based where you're working on it, so it's probably going to be a lot of hands-on stuff. So I'm just putting that out there. What my analysis is on that right now. So engineers on a project start at $20 an hour with an opportunity to make up to $28 an hour in the first year through merit-based reviews. And okay, so basically you're going to have somebody that's going to say, you got this done up to my liking. Now, $20 an hour to be a network engineer ain't nothing. And 28 really ain't nothing either. But if you're a brother that's just starting off and you're in the help desk, this might be a sound investment and you can move around. So merit-based reviews in addition to benefits while traveling, including our logistics team to arrange your travel accommodations, furnished housing, weekly food stipend, and monthly transportation stipend. So this could be like a road warrior or something. If you're a young brother or a young sister, especially young brothers, you need to get out there. Ain't no sense of sitting around. If you ain't got no kids or whatever, your ass needs to get something like this. And even if you do, but if you're starting out, as they say, bright eye, bushy tail, man, this is what you need to be doing. To me, this would be better than the college experience because you're really being able to get on them planes and make some moves. So they said, we're looking for people to participate in our in-office paid training for this position as soon as February 12th. Now, here's the requirements. You got to be open to 100% travel, nationwide travel relocation to client sites, which means no prophet is respected in his own land. You get your ass out there and not get tied down to an anchor because maybe you done got into, well, you know, I'm too used to get, no, you got to move around. You go where the money is. You need a general understanding of basic computer terminology, a strong passion to learn, basic knowledge and proficiency of OS and Office Suite, ability to convey written and oral communication effectively and professionally, background check, drug screen, reliable transportation. You need them L's. Got to have the L's. That's something you should already have as a grown man anyway. Ability to drive and train on site in our Minneapolis office. Now, here's the training. 40 hours a week, fast pace. Relocation assistance in the form of corporate housing available upon request, in addition to training pay. So corporate housing, they'll probably put you up somewhere. Professional development in-house, skill-based training, prep for future projects, developmental relationships. You know what I would do if I was y'all? This is an uncanny thing that I used to do. I used to tell folks in my training when they be in my class, put on your suit and tie, get you one of them little mini Temu or eBay projectors with a projector thing. And let me tell y'all something. Ain't nobody told you this. You only heard this here. I know they didn't tell you this in college if you went to college. If they told you to do this in college and you could prove it, I'll send you a free book. I'll send you a free book and I'll cash app you a coffee. If you could prove and you could show, and don't do no fake email because I know I'm in IT, I ain't stupid. If you could prove that somebody told you in college to do this, I'll send you a free book. If you got one already, you could pass it to another brother or sister, and I'll cash app you some bread for a coffee. What I'm getting ready to tell you. If you could prove that somebody told you this in college, I know they didn't. Get you a little mini projector. You could probably get one off Temu or wherever these little places for like 35 to 50 bucks. $30 to $50 investment, maybe $100 or less. Look, get you a little mini projector and get you the projector little screen where you come in there and all the labs that you did, anything you did, and some of those little mini projectors, they have a USB drive where you could, you make a PowerPoint. You talk about all the stuff you did. And then in the middle of that interview, you say, excuse me, you start talking about your resume, you have your resume there, and make you a PowerPoint. If you can't make a good PowerPoint, you pay somebody to get on there. You go ahead and get on Fiverr or, go to Upwork. Go to Upwork and have somebody design you a lightning to give you a Thanos PowerPoint. You want a Marvel comic PowerPoint. You want somebody to give you the Denzel Washington of all PowerPoints. And everything that you've done in your career from college to labs, if you're working with AWS, Azure, whatever, you get up there and you give them a presentation. Y'all ain't heard this nowhere else. You give them a presentation, and what you do is you talk about everything that you've done and what your expectations is, and what you know about the market and this, that, and the third, and how you can be an asset to this company. And you get up and you present. You stand up and you say, well, excuse me, sir and ma'am, I would like to present my skill set. And then nobody has ever done that. Nobody has done that. They're not going to have that many people that has done that. That will set you apart. That will set you apart more than anybody. And you present your resume and you present all the things you've done in college, anything like when I say in my first and second books, you have these labs and all the stuff you've done, and you make a PowerPoint and you take screenshots of everything. Send me a damn email. I'll send you the PowerPoint that I used to use in my class. Copy that. I'm just saying as a template, just copy that and move things around, and then have somebody fine tune it up. Throw somebody $30 on Upwork or $40 and have them tell them like, man, I'm trying to get the best job out there and I need you to touch this up. You got to spend some money, y'all. Can't be cheap. You got to put some bread up. It's just a few dollars. And you go in an interview like this, you gonna get a job. If you have the requirements I just said, that's how you should do some of your jobs. When it comes to like project management, project based and stuff, then you bring up the projects. This is the projects that I worked on. And then you could get point to this. And then they're going to be looking like how them folks, them host, what's the little American Idol, or not American Idol, but like one of them little talk shows or whatever they call, where you get them folks that sit there and judge you. They're going to be looking at all like, man, we ain't never had nobody do this. I guarantee you ain't heard this nowhere else. So they're going to give you in-house development, collaborative team environment with peers and mentors every step of the way, hands-on access to state-of-the-art technology from our preferred vendors, one-on-one mentorship with highly skilled senior level engineers. Now here's the project perks and benefits. So after completing the 3 to 4 month paid training program, pay starts at $20 an hour. You get a $2,000 bonus in your first project, earn up to $28 in your first merit-based reviews, health, dental, vision, 401k, 50% employer max of up to 6%. So throw that 401k on up in there. Accrue up to 2 weeks PTO, 7 paid holidays, certification reimbursement for the CCNA, CCNP, AWS. Now here's employer-provided benefits when traveling. While traveling on a project, you will receive base compensation in addition to the following employer-provided benefits. Logistics teams to handle all your travel coordination, so they'll handle all that. furnished corporate housing, up to $1,100 in food and transportation stipends in addition to take-home pay. This would be good, and they're always going to need network engineers, people to work in the data center. My homie Elmi, remember when we were talking about the data center? And that's along network engineering. You could work in a data center. You could do anything. You stay here for a couple years. You sharpen all your skills. You get your certification. And then you can be a traveling network engineer. Making 120 or above. You're making the same damn money that you're working at a help desk through some of the training and stuff like that. Yeah, you might deal with your little trailer trash Bob here and there, whatever. You're going to deal with that anyway. It doesn't matter what level you're at. You might be dealing with the, but then you may not. You might have, you're always going to be, as a black person in the Northern Hemisphere, you're always going to be dealing with people at the job giving you a hard time at some level. But this right here, this would be a good thing for a black person to get in the game. This will be a good thing for a black person to get in the game if you're starting out. Because you're going to be dealing with, they have to make sure if you're working there that you succeed at this company. So as long as you're on top of your A game, they got to make sure you succeed. You might have somebody doing something a little funny style or whatever, but man, they need you to succeed because this is it's like managed service. It's consulting services. They're probably charging Delta and all them other places that I just mentioned. Man, they're probably charging them an arm and a leg per hour and then hitting you off with the 20 to 28. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, you do this until you become excellent, and then you could go on somewhere else. That's how you do that. Another company sent me something. I wasn't interested. It was for an on-site position, but it's for a project coordinator. They got a project coordinator in Academy by Lumen. Lumen, I believe, used to be CenturyLink, which was Quest. I still call it Quest sometimes. But what they got is they're seeking an early career or second career self-starter who's self-motivated, interested in project management. Now, you're going to participate in an Ops Academy, which is a robust training program to jumpstart and enable your success. You'll learn how to manage projects utilizing our technology, networks, products, processes, and customer service best practice. Now, the office locations is in Richfield, Minnesota, White Bear Lake. That ain't too far from me. Anoka, Minnesota, and they just want a high school diploma and you be able to work in Microsoft Office. Then they prefer a BA or 2 to 3 years in telecom. But if you got some desktop support or maybe a little help desk, they might consider that. It pays 50 bands to 63,000. That's not much, but like I say, you could get some telecom experience and you could move on somewhere else at some point. Now, the main responsibilities is analyzing and updating work plans and schedules, developing methodologies, procedures, and systems to produce project tracking, develop and update project status and reports. Project, it's like a project manager thing. This doesn't pay that much, but like I say, coming in the game, I sent one of the guys that I'm trying to get help get him in the game. I sent him this like, hey, go ahead and apply for this and see what's happening. Yeah, I told him to go ahead and apply for that and see what's going on. And when you're applying at some of these places, always check LinkedIn and make sure that they're credible. You know what I mean? Because that's important. Now, for a managed service review, there was, another company I applied at. And while they were doing the background check, and see, like I say, I'm doing all of this stuff for case studies for y'all. Some of these places I'm not interested in, but I want to share the game with y'all and the process. So I noticed during the background check, They said you would be supporting a place called Aviat. That's Aviat. Aon. Now, I had an interview with Aon about a year ago or so. So I just want to go and tell you who these companies are. Now, Aviat Networks, what do? They do project services, managed services. It looks like they make, what do they make here? Okay, well, what do they do? Let's see what the company, okay, so they got project services, managed services, support. So it looks like they pioneer modern digital microwave systems. It looks like they do some managed services. So let's look at their managed services. A lot of network services. Okay, network monitoring, interference monitoring, network health, on-site maintenance, remote upgrades. So this place is called Aviat Networks. Okay, let's look at their careers. That's the first thing I do when I look at a company. They're using ADP. Okay, they ain't cheap. They got some money. Support careers. International freight quoter buyer. IT support engineer. This looks like that's the Philippines. Yep, how did I know? See, they offshore. And this should be something that shouldn't even be allowed in America if you ask me, but they do it. They have a right, they have a legal right to do it. But they offshore a lot of these positions into India and Philippines. And American people, that's where it comes where, when you apply for help desk now, or a lot of times desktop support, they treat you like you're trash. Okay? They want to treat you like you're trash. So, somebody here, I don't know, they might pay them $14 an hour. I don't know what they pay over there, but I noticed it was with the Philippines. Right when I seen that T-Gig or T-Gwig or whatever, the Philippines, they probably paid them nothing. Okay, let's go into the next company. That was Aviat. Let's go to Aon. Now, Aon, what they do is it looks like they're not really saying what they do here. I'll tell you what the industries are: construction, real estate, life sciences, natural resources, professional and business services, public sector, healthcare, food, agribusiness. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of read off, discover new insights. It says, from navigating climate change to workforce resilience, today's leaders need access to powerful insights to make better decisions. So it sounds like to me that this is a data-driven company. Climate change and sustainability, digital acceleration, environmental, social, and governance issues, capabilities. Let's look and see what they do. Claim management, health and benefits, human capital analytics, cyber resilience, investments, intellectual property, mergers and acquisition. So it looks like they do a lot. Let me just go on Wikipedia and see. All right, now let's get to the nitty gritty. I did interview with them not too long ago. It's a British American professional services and management consulting firm that offers a range of risk mitigation products. So that's what they do. They do risk mitigation. 55,000 employees across 120 countries. That's what they do. Then AT&T, you already know what they do. CVS Pharmacy, you know what they do. So I noticed in the background check that they were mentioning all of these different companies that you had to keep going through these background checks. And they mentioned Aviat, Aon, AT&T, and CVS. So I started thinking like, okay, this must be all the clients they support, because during the interview they were hush hush. But the background check will tell you who you're really going to be supporting, because if they're supporting other companies and you got to get all this access and stuff like that, I said, all right. So somebody asked me a question the other day. And they said, well, you know, how did you succeed to get where you wanted to get? You know, I mean, how did you succeed and how did you get where you're at? And, you know, terms of, you know, the IT field and whatever. I say I don't value money, I value people. And to be honest, there's been some times in my life, especially when I was coming in, and I'll admit to y'all, I feel like I'm behind. Y'all may think, well, oh, he wrote these good books and, you know, he got this nice website and all this advice and whatever the case may be. I really feel like I'm about 7 years behind, because there's things that I didn't know. I didn't know that I was supposed to be getting what I was supposed to get. But, you know, in theory, I figure like this: if I value people, people have access to money. You see what I'm saying? If you're good at what you do, you don't have to really think about money all the time. You just value people, because somebody might have some information that I need, just like y'all is probably going to have information that you need. And I give you the information. Once you get the information, then you can leverage that information to go get more information. Like Neely Fuller taught us, all about questions and answers. It's really, really true, especially in information technology, because you're going to send me a question, or you might even have a statement. To my response may be a question. And then you take that information that you get, and you're probably going to ask somebody else some questions. Somebody might ask you some questions, and then you gonna make a statement. And then you might ask further questions. So that's all people are doing. Just with information technology, it's in and out, in and out. Binary numbers, 1 and 0, 1 and 0. It's all codification. Information technology, when you think about it, is all codification. It either works or it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? That's a question. You see? That's the first thing. Okay, it's not working. So you're going to have to ask some questions. The question is why doesn't it work? Okay. What's not working? How long was it? How long has it been working? How long hasn't it been working? How many people is it affecting? You're going to start with codification right off the rip. Things became simpler for me once I came up with that concept. Or I mean, once I started learning that concept, I'll say. Now, I think the last thing, we'll be wrapping up in a minute here, unless I got some more information for you guys. Now, there's something here that one of the brothers sent me that I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to post in this podcast. Okay. And this is what he said. He said, I was doing some digging to become more proficient with some of the technologies on my own while I'm being micromanaged at the same time. So what this is telling me is the brother's working and they're micromanaging him at the job, as we know is a common thing amongst black folks working, especially in the corporate field and any other field for that matter. So he says, I have to send some information on the Velo Cloud. Now, Velo Cloud or Velo Cloud was previously known as VMware Orchestrator. So he said, I'm going to send you some information. I'm going to send some information on the Velo Cloud by you and the Fortinet Fortinet documentation just in case if people want to prepare for an L1 or an L3 role. He said he's getting some Citrix documentation as well. Now, he said the FortiGate firewall boxes you could get for cheap for $50. And some cost $100 on eBay. Now, he says, but the issue people are running into is the licensing, which is another different ball game, which started $189. But the problem is it's an annual license at firewalls.com, which I don't recommend to everyone, just for the shoestring budget. Then he said pfSense is your best bet unless a company is giving it away with a 2-year license. That's true. I was working at a managed service company many years ago. I was just kind of around the time I was just starting off. I didn't really like working there because there was a suspected race soldier that was talking down to me. And I talked about that in, I think, one of the first or second books. I think it was the second one. One of the incidents he had was he was introducing me, because we get shipments and firewalls and all kinds of stuff because they're a managed service company that's partnered up with firewall companies. And a lot of times FedEx, or I think she was a UPS lady. So she comes in, she was kind of a Karen too, and he gave her a quick dog whistle. Well, hey, meet Derek. He don't know nothing. And he didn't really say it as a joke. He kind of was saying it in real funny style. He tried to make it seem like it was a joke, but so she kind of looked at me like, so she already in her mind was like, okay, yeah, you're Negro, you're just here. So she was real, as I tried to greet her, she was real cold shoulderish. So it's like she gave him the race soldier dog whistle to say, okay, he's not to be respected. I peeped that out at an early age. I didn't overthink it. I knew what that was. It wasn't just no, oh, ha, 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 he. No, I knew what that was because I knew it was totally unnecessary. When you introduce somebody, and especially in a professional setting, you don't introduce them on the lower rings of the lowest vibe you can. You don't do that. Even if the person you like, even if the person you're working with, you don't like them, you don't just introduce somebody, because that sets a bad tone. So every time this lady is dropping off packages, every time I get a package from her, she's acting real funny style. And I'm kind of thinking like, I don't even want to accept no packages from this broad. In my mind, I don't even really want to deal with you. Because every time you give me the package, you handing it to me all funny, and I may say hello and you just looking at me all funny or whatever. I'm like, I don't even really want to deal with your ass. You see what I'm saying? But I accept the package. She comes all the time. But that was one of the reasons why I really didn't want. And there's a host of other things, that he was doing. And I think I'm gonna make a story time for that managed service. And that was in Eagan, Minnesota. Eagan, Minnesota, is any black person knows, especially dealing with the PD and everything. They are a heavy. They're real funny style in Eagan. Any black person knows in Minnesota, Eagan is not too Negro friendly. So I'm just saying that. Now, but anyway, getting back to pfSense. pfSense is a Linux-based firewall. That's a good firewall to learn, and it's very tough to learn. But pfSense is definitely something that you can actually make a virtual firewall. You could get like any little desktop. You might even be able to throw pfSense on a Chromebook. I don't think so, but anyway, we were using pfSense in a forensic class when I was taking some classes at a college. But yeah, he's right, pfSense, because if you get some of these other firewalls, that's how they make their money, through licensing. So you can get all of the security capabilities, but they want to take an arm and a leg for an annual license. Okay, so now he's talking again. He says, with that being said, I'm still applying for secondary full-time roles. I saw the interviews you made, and there were really some really good mock interviews. We definitely needed those mock interviews, and I wish I would have prepared myself decades ago. I'm saying the same damn thing. I wish I would have prepared myself decades ago, or a decade ago. So looking at this website right here, he gave me a website to firewalls.com. And I'm looking at it's FortiGate 1 year enterprise protection. Yeah, that's how they make all their money. Like for this 1 year, for one of these products, it's $895. Now, it delivers all FortiGuard security services available for the FortiGate, including antivirus, web and email protection, CASB, industrial security and security rating. So that would probably be, let's say you have a company that provides healthcare services or healthcare support, and they need a firewall. There's certain ratings where they have to have it. Industrial security. Let's say you have a manufacturing firm, or there might be information, or there might be a requirement where there has to be a certain grade or a certain rating where the product has to be behind a firewall, or the firewall software itself has to protect this asset. And when I say asset, I mean a device. So it could be, I don't know, it could be a machine where they solder car parts, or I don't know, making Teslas or something. There's communication between those devices. They all talk to a computer at some point, so that it might need a certain industrial security rating. You get the 40 sandbox cloud service. You get technical support and advanced hardware replacement 24/7, 365 for 1 year. Now that's $895. Now the cheapest one, as he said, there's one for $187. Now, remember what I did on my second book. When I wrote this chapter, it kind of hit my heart special because remember I talked about SCADA technology. SCADA technology is dealing with water sensors. And I talked about James Fortin. And I said, do we have a James Fortin of SCADA technology? You see what I'm saying? I made other references. Do we have a Dr. Francis Cress Welsing of data science? Rest in heaven, Dr. Cress Welsing. SCADA technology, this FortiGuard industrial security service for 1 year, this license for 1 year. The firewall, they might give it to you for $100 or less or whatever. But for 1 year, it protects ICS and SCADA of OT organizations. So a lot of it says increased visibility and control over hundreds of industrial applications. So these applications have to be protected by a firewall. And it's a 1 year license. So that brother was correct. He said, you may get the firewall for nothing, but you don't have to pay for the licenses. But I'm just saying, if you're in a production environment and you got a company like such, you're gonna want to pay for the license. So he's right about that. Then he gave me a website where it talks about configuring device settings. So that might have been something that, he had to do. Y'all could take a look at that, because I'll probably post that. Then it looks like it's something he gave me with the VMware SD-WAN troubleshooting guide. Then it looks like there's something here, and I haven't took Citrix in forever, but the complete guide to understanding the Citrix logon process. Okay. All right. That might be something y'all might want to take a look at if you got a position. And I'll post all of this in the chat. I'll post it all in like the post, or I might even post it right here in the I'll post it in the chat. I'll post it in the community chat. So yeah, y'all, I mean, these are some things that you can look at if you're getting ready to have an interview. A lot of times you're going to be spending time looking at technical documents, because here's the thing about technical documents. It's not the end all be all, because there could be different configurations and these things change all the time. So when you're dealing with an issue, man, it could be a million different things. It could be a million different things that could be wrong. And you might provide somebody with, especially if they're asking about something where, let's say the service level agreement. Let's say you're working at a company and the service level agreement is this or that. Man, you might be in a situation where you get to the end of the line as far as what you could support, and you, hey man, I'm just gonna give you this. You're dealing with a Citrix issue. This is a Citrix issue. We have gone as far as we can beyond the scope of the support, especially if you're working managed services. So you may have to give them a tech guide and send them on their way. You know, a lot of times they don't like that, but you may have to just do it. You know, so I know I should have posted earlier this week, y'all. Winter tech gear review. My wife ordered me some what they call those battery operated gloves. Right now it's -3 degrees in Minnesota right now. So I'm gonna do a review of those. I'm gonna do a new story time. I'm gonna be posting that. I might do that tonight. I don't know. I'm kind of congested. I might do it tonight though. If not, I'm gonna make sure I do it tomorrow or the next day. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna post this up for y'all. It's too cold for me to do some of the story times that I wanted to do because I want to go to the locations of where these story times are at. But once it starts getting a little warmer, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take my phone over there. I'm thinking about grabbing some better tools because I need to increase the audio. I don't like the audio quality of the phone, even though it's a newer, it's not a new phone or it's not an older phone. It's just that I think my son plays with it and he be crumbs in it and stuff, and I can't seem to get that out of the speaker. So y'all are gonna see some improvements. You're definitely gonna see some improvements. So hey, if y'all like what y'all hear, you know what I'm saying, spread the word. Y'all know what to do. Over and out. Y'all take care.